Okay guys, in this video I just want to talk to you guys about some of the abbreviations that are in your text. Whether you guys are using an e-text or using your physical textbook, these are in your book. I believe they're on chapter 9. I believe it looks like this is on page 160. I've just copied that directly out of there. And my suggestion to you guys is to highlight some of the ones that I want you guys to be familiar with, as I want you guys to be familiar with these because of the importance that they'll play in the dosage calculation examples that we will see next week. So I want you guys to, if you want to print this off, I'll actually provide a PDF for you guys this week so you guys can just print it off and you guys can just highlight the ones that I focus on in this video. So if you want to go ahead and do that, you might want to. Or you can always highlight it directly in your book, and that would be fine too. As there's a lot of abbreviations on this list, and eventually you guys as nurses, you guys will eventually want to get to know all of these. But just again, for the purpose of dosage calculations and what we'll be using for math, there are only certain ones that I want you guys to be familiar with. So I'm going to highlight some of the ones that I want you guys to know. So you'll see them on some of these on next week's quiz, maybe not all of them, but it'll help us in our, like I said, our dosage calculations next week too. So I do want you guys to, just starting at the top, be familiar with the A with the little line over it, as that means before. Very similar. Be familiar with that P with the little line over it there, representing after. Right above that after, I do want you guys to know NPO. Be familiar with nothing by mouth. Be familiar with, let's see, the C with the line over it. I made my marker a little bit bigger so I can get all of that. The C with the little line over it representing with. And the S with the line over it meaning without. We're actually going to see that Q representing every. We're going to see that in actually the next picture that I'm going to show you guys on the next screen. There's more we're going to do with that every. So that Q will be something that you'll need to see on the other screen too. Let's see. And as far as everything in that first section, also be familiar with, and hopefully you guys already are, with the abbreviations for tablespoon and teaspoon. So that's all you guys need to have highlighted on that top section. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that all those are highlighted. So you guys should have, looks like 8 highlighted in that first section. In the second section, be familiar with cap or caps for capsules. Just going down the line there. This one isn't as popular, but no drops. GT or GTT represents drops. And tab. No tab for tablets. Or tablet. And that's all you guys really, the only ones I want you guys to know in that second section. On the third section, let's see, be familiar with the way that injections are given. So they can be given intradermally, intramuscularly, intravenously. Don't worry about IV, PB, or SS. They can also be given subcutaneously. So subcut means subcutaneously, so in the fat tissue under the skin. But also on that, be familiar with per, meaning per. I know that sounds funny, but we're going to see per pretty often as, very similar to what we saw on the labels. That little slash mark represents per as well. So when we see that there are 50 milligrams / milliliter, it means per milliliter. So we'll see that. And then PO, be familiar with by mouth, as NPO from up above meant nothing by mouth. This is by mouth. Oftentimes oral medications, tablets and such are oftentimes listed as PO. So you guys should have 6 highlighted in that bottom section there. Minute, already pretty familiar to us. Tab, you might already know that as tablet. Teaspoon, you may be familiar with that already. But some of the ones that we're not familiar with, let's make sure we focus on those. Next week's quiz, I will simply just give you one of these abbreviations and you just have to write out what it means. If you guys have any questions at all, let me know. And on the second page, this is the only other page you guys will see, there's a couple that I want you guys to be familiar with on this one. Nothing up in that top section, but I do want you guys to be familiar with AC for before meals. You guys saw A on the previous picture, meaning before. So AC just means before meals. Be familiar with BID representing twice a day. It's pretty common there. So D representing day, BIW means week. So sometimes it's just twice a week. No H or HR for hour. And opposite of that, MIN for minute. I shouldn't say opposite, but also along the same lines of telling time. And no PC for after meals. So again, P meaning after, so that C represents meals. So be familiar with AC and PC for before meals and after meals. If it helps, know that A comes before P in the dictionary. So be familiar with A is before, whereas P is after, if that helps. PRN means when necessary or when required. Oftentimes it will say like something like PRN for pain. So meaning as necessary with pain. You know, as the patient is experiencing pain, can be given when necessary. Q, again, remember, meant every. So when we see QAM or QPM, that means every morning or every night. QH would be every hour. And then Q blank H means every blank hours. So just to give an example with that, if I had Q8H, that means that medication needs to be given every 8 hours. Or Q12H means every 12 hours, and so on and so forth. So that's what that blank represents. So on next week's quiz, it will be given like that, where I'll say Q8H, Q12H, and you would have to write that in as every 8 hours. Or every 12 hours. Okay, be familiar with QID, means 4 times a day, as opposed to BID, which was 2 times a day. So I always think bi-daily, as that's what that represents. Q is like quarterly, so quarter represents 4. And then TID is 3 times a day. And also TIW is 3 times a week. Okay, so those are the only ones you need to be familiar with. This section is really kind of the most popular one, as this is one that you will oftentimes see these on orders. You know, as we get into those dosage calculations next class, you know, we'll have to interpret those specific... Oh, I didn't mean to unhighlight all of those. Let me do that. I was trying to just erase what I had at the bottom so I can give you guys an example. So, you know, on a dosage calculation, I may have something like patient needs to receive 50 milligrams PO Q6H. You know, so that, you know, represents that a patient needs to receive 50 milligrams by mouth every 6 hours. And that may be something that we have to incorporate into our dosage calculation. So that's something we will see next week. So these are the ones that I want you guys to be familiar with. Be prepared to see those on your quiz next week. So focus on those highlighted ones if you're not already familiar with those. Hopefully ones like